Hi, this is Shadi. Today we're going to be diving into the old manuscripts of Jujutsu. Jigoro Kano, the founder of Judo, learned from two distinct schools, the first one being Tenjin Shinyo Jujutsu, and the second one is Kitoryu Jujutsu. So today we're going to be diving into the first one, but before I do that, shout out to Kenta on Instagram for putting this to my attention. So I've discussed these images before, but it's nice to go back to them again and see the differences and the little things between self-defense and sparring. They have distinct sections. They also sparred without any garments, which is very interesting. So let's start with the Randori section, and you see here the first technique. You're gonna ask yourself, is this the foot sweep or a reap? But based on the description that you read, if you can read, it looks like you push the sleeve and then you take the leg from underneath towards the hips. It looks more like a kosotogari because as you push the sleeve backwards, as you see here, it looks like you are pinning the weight of the foot on it, and then you can reap it, not so much removing weight off of it so you can sweep it. So this is a it's a very effective throw. You can do it at any level, and it's one of these basic throws that can go a very long way. The next one here, we are in the Ashi waza section. You can see how you are pulling to the side your opponent and then blocking the leg and reaping. It's very much like a major outer reap that we do today in judo, and you can see in Japanese you read from right to left, so you can see it starts and then the second one is where you reap, and how they go down in a wheeling motion, just like you see here in front of you. And this book is from Meiji 26, I believe, so 1893. So it's quite nice that the school documented what they had as of an arsenal, but also you can see how judo came to be at the same time, and it's nice to see these techniques very well documented, even as the predecessors of judo, and using almost the same way of unbalancing to the side and then reaping the leg. It's quite interesting, and of course they didn't just fall out of the sky. Now this one is actually quite interesting. You have the one on the right, which is the dojime, which is a torso strangle. A lot of people think it's closed guard, but no. Look at the legs. They are fully in a scissor shape, fully extended, which can do a lot of damage to your internal organs. It can suffocate you. It's a very dangerous technique. The one on the left hand side, you can see it's the sacrificing techniques. Notice how the guy on his back is actually gripping both collars and not the sleeve and the collar, which is key because it makes perfect sense once it is in nage no kata. So you see, this is from the 1880s, I believe 1886 if I'm not mistaken. So tomoe nage, you see here, he lets go of the sleeve, grips both collars, and then pulls backwards, lays down in a circular motion, and launches his foot at the end. And it makes sense now seeing the old manuscripts gripping both collars. Here you see it is wrong to just go in very close because you cannot pull properly. You need to leave some space between you and your partner. And here you duck down way too low. You cannot launch your leg. So the proper way of doing this is to naturally way down to the back. I know it's a bit risky, but this is how it's properly done. Then at the end you launch. A lot of people do them unintentionally, not just this technique. So pause if you need. You can see on the top right side, you can see your classical armbar that is done even today in MMA, in high-level Jujutsu tournaments. And the one underneath it is your classical saddle position, mount position. Again, this is from Meiji 26 or 1893. You can see some grip fighting at the same time. Here you see some pinning techniques, the rear naked choke, and also on the right side you can see the shoulder throw, gripping the arm and not so much the clothing. Now what we do with the shoulder throw is we either grip the sleeve or the lapel because of the rice grain jacket, which is very sturdy. But in the past, with these very thin garments, they did it without the use of the jacket. It's not a jacket at the time, but it's their kimono. So here you see, let's go back to Nage no Kata, and you can see how you can place and you grip the shoulder firmly and not so much the cloth. Now we just flex the bicep and make like a fist, but no, you should actually grasp the arm tightly in both hands, and then you cut down like a sword motion. Here you see you grab the arm with both hands and you cut down as you are kneeling down or you are bending over. And you see you can do it with or without the garment with this type of grip. And this is why it looks like this in the basic form or in the kata, because the garment in the past was not like this jacket that you see in today's judo. So it's important to know this stuff, and the old jujutsu will make things far more clear. Now here you see they are grappling without the hakama and the kimono because they're not very durable if you're constantly sparring with them, and hence why the gi is so thick. I made a whole presentation on this, and what I find interesting is the one on the right, where you are cupping the shoulder and sinking your forearm onto the throat of your partner. So this is reminiscent of katate jime, but instead of gripping the collar deeply, you are actually cupping the shoulder, but the finishing is very similar, where you sink your forearm into the throat of your opponent and hence choking them. So I really like this grip from underneath the leg. Now pay attention to the one on the right. You see here how he's grasping the neck. It looks like a spine lock, but it's saying a naked choke. And you see how he's pulling the head, and notice the leg next to the opponent, how it is lifted up, as in the knee is flexed, and you see the heel is close to the back of the opponent. This will create a tremendous amount of pressure downward on the solar plexus, on the chest of your opponent. And someone actually dove into this with his specialty, the scarf hold, which is Henry Akins. Here you see he pulls his heel towards him and sinks his weight and actually makes someone tap out to this. It's a lot of pressure on the chest and the solar plexus. So this is mainly it. If you have anything to add, let me know down below. Consider supporting me on Patreon or becoming a channel member. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.